Disclaimer: this video contains mental content that is just for entertainment purposes, so don't spread hate and don't post negative comments. If you're homophobic, please leave. Thank you. The night had fallen softly. What they mentioned is all quite expect from the tickling clock in the living room and the sound of Jagger carefully preparing Theong's medicine. He padded back into the bedroom with a small first aid box, his face set with determination. Theong was resting against the headboard wearing a loose shirt, but his gaze immediately softened as soon as Jagger stepped in, the younger boy clutching the box so tightly as if it was his entire responsibility to keep him safe. Time to time to change your bandage, Jagger murmured, trying to sound strict, but his voice betrayed the faint tremor of worry. Theong chuckled weakly. Yes, Dr. Benny. Jagger shoot him a glare, expecting a her tone choked die, but if these stitches get infected. Immediately, Theong leaned forward a little, helping Jungkook unbuttoning his shirt. Jungkook's hand slowed the movement, smooth skin had bended bound, saying came into the view. His breath hitched, not because of the bandage, but because of the man beneath him, his chest, his sharp collarbones, and the soft rise and fall of his breathing. Jungkook's throat went dry as he gently peeled them away. The used bandage, Theong winced slightly, but he didn't say a word, not wanting to worry him. Jungkook lay on the divan instinctively, as if his gentle breath could take away the pain, and carefully taped on a fresh bandage. But when his eyes lingered for too long, just a second too long, Jungkook quickly realized it and froze. His ears turned red as he reached to grab Theong's shirt, fumbling to close it back. Theong's hand showed up weak but steady, stopping him. A mischievous but warm smile tugged at his lips. His voice was husky, slow, laced with tenderness. You didn't have to look away, Jungkook. You can look all you want. I'm yours. I won't mind it, okay? Jungkook's entire face flushed crimson. His heart pounded so loudly he thought Theong could hear it. What are you even saying? He whispered, biting his lip, torn between embarrassment and the rush of warmth flooding his chest. Theong tilted his head, eyes soft yet intense, because it's true. You're the only one I want, and if it makes you shy, it only makes me want for you more. Jungkook's hand trembled as he finished, pulling the blanket up to Theong's chest, desperately trying to cover his own shyness, but the smile that slipped onto his lips, the tears welling up in his eyes, betrayed how deeply those words reached him. In that quiet night, it wasn't just warmth that were healing, it was their hearts stitching together, stronger than before. The dining hall was quieter than usual that night. The long table, polished to a shine, held carefully arranged dishes. Jungkook had helped the chefs prepare soft breakfast Jenny could eat easily in her 7 months of pregnancy. Candles flickered around the center, but the warmth of the room couldn't mask the nervous air that hung above the table. Jenny entered slowly, her hand resting over her rounded body, judging beside him like a shield. His eyes were sharp. Theong stood when they walked in. His posture was straight, his face unreadable as always, but Jungkook sitting at his side could feel the tension in his tight hand clenched under the table. Jenny, Jackson, Theong greeted slowly, his deep voice holding an edge of restraint. Thank you for coming. Jackson pulled out Jenny's chair before sitting beside him. His gaze looked on Theong like a warning. Jenny, however, gave a small, polite smile, her hand unconsciously rubbing her belly. We came because Jungkook said it was important, she said softly. Jungkook looked between them nervously, then back at Theong silently as if to speak. Theong drew in a breath and placed his palm flat against the table, steadying himself. His voice, usually so commanding, broke slightly as if again. I have done things unforgivable. His gaze flickered to Jackson first, and for the briefest moment regret flashed in his eyes. That night, when I pulled the trigger at you, I should have thought twice. I let my anger control me. You were only trying to protect Jenny, and I treated you like an enemy. For that, I'm sorry. Jackson didn't reply, only clenched his jaw, his hand sliding protectively over Jenny's young's eyes, then softened as they shifted to her. He paused, guilt visibly twisting in his chest before he continued, and you, Jenny, I used to hurt Jungkook. I used you to hurt Jungkook. I threatened your life, blackmailed him, knowing you were carrying an innocent child. His voice flattered low and raw. It was monstrous. I didn't expect forgiveness. I know it's impossible, but you deserve to hear it from my own mouth. I'm sorry. The room was silent. Even the candle flame seemed to stand still. Jungkook watched. The young boy said something he rarely did. Jenny was the first to move. Her fingers gently touched Jackson's wrist, calming him down. Before she looked at Theon, you're right, she said softly but firmly. What you did was monstrous. I hated you that night. What you did to Jackson. Her voice cracked, but then she sighed. But people can change, and I can see it in your eyes tonight. You regret it. Jackson scoffed under his breath, but Jenny squealed his hand. I can't forgive you, not yet, but maybe someday. She rested her hand on her belly again. For my child's sake, I want to. I want to believe people can change. Theon swallowed hard. His Adam apples pouring. That's more than I deserve. Jackson finally spoke. His tone clipped. I don't care if you regret it or not, then Theon. He pointed a gun at me again, and you would get the chance to apologize next time. The warning hung heavy in the air, but instead of bristling with pride like he once would, Theon simply nodded. Fair enough. Jungkook reached under the table and squeezed Theon's hand, grounding him, reminding him silently that he wasn't alone. For the first time, Theon let his finger curl back around Jungkook's, holding on as if the warmth could stop the chill of his past sins. After dinner, both Jenny and Jungkook ended up in a room together talking. Jenny followed his gaze and sighed. I know he loves you, Jungkook. I can see it, but don't forget. You don't have to forgive him just because he loves you. Forgiveness is yours to give when you're ready. Jungkook smiled faintly when his chest felt tight. I know, but I already forgave him in here. He pressed her hand against his heart, but because if I hadn't, I could never fall in love with him. Jenny's eyes softened, almost watery, and squeezed his hand tighter. Then protect that love, Jungkook. It's rare for a man like him to change. But if he's changing for you, don't let go. Across the room, Jackson leaned close to Theon, his voice low and sharp. I don't care if Jungkook forgive you or not. I don't care what face you show him now. If my wife or my child ever end up in danger because of you, I'll end you, no hesitation. And don't you dare hurt Jungkook again. Theon met his eyes, and for once there was no challenge in his stare, only raw honesty. I swear to you, Jackson, you'll never have to do that. I'll protect them as if they were mine. Jackson studied him for a long moment, then leaned back, still skeptical but strangely calm. That night, when the guests finally left, silence filled the mansion once again. Theon walked upstairs with Jungkook, his pace slower than usual, weighed down by the guilt he still carried. In their bedroom, he sat on the edge of the bed, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor, his usual crisp man. His danger edge was gone. Only a man with trembling regrets remained. Jungkook came up behind him, kneeling on the floor between his knees. Why are you so quiet? He whispered. Theo looked down at him, teary eyes, because I can forgive myself. Jenny said, maybe someday, but I can't even give myself that. Every time I look at you, I remember what I did. I hate myself, Jungkook. Jungkook's heart raced. Without another word, he leaned forward, covering Theon's face and pressed their lips together in a deep, desperate kiss. Theon froze at first, his eyes wide until Jungkook tilted his head and kissed him harder, pouring everything that touched love, forgiveness, and warmth. Only then did Theon respond, his large hands sliding around Jungkook's waist, holding him close to his skin, kissing him back as though breathing of the first time. When they finally pulled apart, Jungkook's forehead rested against his. Don't you dare, Jungkook whispered, his voice strong. Don't you dare sit there and dote in your guilt. I told you before, you're not just Theon. You have changed. You made me fall in love with you, and if you keep punishing yourself, you're punishing me too. Jung swallowed hard, his eyes swept Jungkook. Jungkook didn't gain softer this time, and it was stopped. Just hold him instead. Theon Sam tightened around him, pulling him into his chest, pouring his face in Jungkook's ear, as if anchoring himself to the only forgiveness he needed. That night in their room, the lights were dim, only the golden glow of the bedside lamp spelling across the room. After the deep kiss, the young still looked broken, his eyes closed, his lips trembling as though he wanted to say more apologies but didn't know how. Jungkook climbed into the bed and tucked Theon gently until they lay down beside him. Theon stood at first, shaking his head. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to hold you after everything I... Jungkook pressed a finger to his lips, then leaned forward and kissed his forehead with such softness that Theon's heart squeezed painfully in his chest. Stop saying that. You already apologize if I keep hearing you. Tear yourself apart. Jungkook's voice cracked. I'll start thinking you regret loving me. Theon's eyes widened and he immediately shook his head, clutching Jungkook's wrist. No, never. If there is one thing I don't regret, it's you. Loving you is the only right thing I ever did in my entire life. Jungkook's chest flustered, and he quickly looked up, embarrassed at how much those words make him tremble inside. He lay down, running onto his side, and Theon instinctively moved closer, wrapping one strong arm around Jungkook's waist. Their body fit together so naturally, like two puzzle pieces finally sliding onto each other. At first, Theon just held him, but his breathing was shaky, and even his skill still conning at him. I'm sorry, he whispered again against Jungkook's ear. I'm sorry for the scars, for the pain, for everything. I promise I will give you everything I can to make you happy. Jungkook sighed, twisting in his arm just for enough to face him, then stopped being sorry and just love him. Theon tightened his arm around him, his chin resting on Jungkook's ear for the first time in years. His eyes drifted shut with peace rather than nightmares. The next morning, sunlight peeked through the curtains, casting a golden glow over the room. Jungkook stared, his lashes fluttering as he woke up, only to realize he was snuggled tightly against Theon's chest. Theon's arm was secretly wrapped around his waist, holding him as though he would never let go. Their legs were tangled, their breaths sensing their bodies spinning together like they were meant to be one. Jungkook blinked rapidly, his face burning. Oh God, we look like one body. Trying to move on, only Theon gripped tighter. The older man nestled into Jungkook's hair with a sleepy stay still, Bunny. Jungkook entire face turned red, tied his fingers. Theon slowly opened his eyes, still hazy with sleep, but then he saw Jungkook flustered. Lip out, he couldn't help but smile. You should just get used to it, Theon murmured, voice deep and husky. When was waking up, he leaned in close, his lips brushed Jungkook's ear. You're going to leave my husband soon after all. Jungkook's breath hitched, his whole body trembling. Husband? He whispered, his voice barely audible. Theon chuckled softly, brushing a thumb over Jungkook's burning cheek. He smiled forever. Jungkook buried his face in Theon's chest to hide his blush, making the older man's heart swell with pure adoration. Theon kissed the top of his head, holding him even tighter, as if seeing a silent war between them. Later that morning, as Jungkook sat at the breakfast table, Theon phone buzzed on the nightstand. His playful smile vanished the second he saw the caller ID. He stepped outside in the balcony, his voice dropping into the deep, icy tone. Only his man knew. Yes. On the other hand, the man spoke quickly. Boss, we got the information issued to you. They were not after you, they were after. They were meant to be Mrs. Jenny and her husband Jackson. Arrival Mario wanted eventually Jackson to suspect at the marriage, but the man hesitated. They also noticed Jungkook at the wedding. They assumed he was part of your family too, so they decided to target him as well. The young outlined, his knuckles tightening. White as he gripped the phone, his gaze unconsciously flickered toward the dining room where Jungkook was sitting down, plate, his funny smile shining even in the smallest actions. They dared to even think about harming my family. His voice came out like steel, cold and lethal. No one, he groaned. No one lives after thinking of harming my family. His then swallowed out of understood boss. Tianka Tikar without another sliding the phone back into his pockets when he turned back to the room. His expression softened again at the sight of Tianka fussing over how neatly the napkins were folded. Inside, however, a stone was reaching. No one touches them. Note while I am alive. To be continued. Subscribe if you like it. Press the bell icon for getting immediate notifications for further videos. Thank you for reading.